Hello students, I am Professor Namrata Hampiholi from Department of Commerce and Accountancy, KLS GCC, Belgavi. So in our yesterday's class we have seen the two most important documents relating to the company, that is Memorandum of Association and Articles of Association. Now coming to the next most important document, that is Prospectus. Here, prospectus is a legal document which will outline the financial securities for the sale to the investors. So when a public company needs a finance or when it needs a capital, it will make available by the public through the issue of shares. So before making the availability of the capital from the public, it provides the prospectus. So here it provides the prospectus with the intention of raising the capital. The prospectus contains the detail of all the financial securities or the matters through which the investor can take the decision of investing in the company. That will help the investor to take the decision for investing in the company. So here the investors will be well informed through this prospectus. So here prospectus contains the detail about the company which will highlight about the financial security given to the investors. So let us see the content of prospectus. Here the prospectus will contain the detail of the company such as its name, its registered office address and the objective of the company. So based on this, the investor will think of investing in the company. And then the details of the signatories to the memorandum and their shareholding particulars. And the detail about the directors and detail of the share offered and the class of issue as well as the voting rights. Then what is the minimum subscription amount, that is how much minimum amount they can invest here by purchasing the shares. Then the amount payable on the application and allotment and on the further calls, right? So as we have already studied that while issuing the shares, the first step is here on the application, on allotment and next first and final calls. Then underwriter of the issues, then the auditor of the company, then the audit reports regarding the profit and loss of the company. So these are all are the contents of the prospectus. Looking into these contents, the investor will make a decision regarding the investment in the company by the purchase of the securities. Then next moving to the types of prospectus. So here according to the 2013 Companies Act, there are 4 types of the prospectus. The first one here is deemed prospectus. So the deemed prospectus is mentioned under the Companies Act 2013 in the section 25 subsection 1. So here it says a company allows or agrees to allot any securities of the company. The document is considered as deemed prospectus through which the offer is made to the investor. Any document which offers the sale of security to the public is deemed to be the prospectus by implication of a law. So to clear this meaning, let us take here one example. So there is a company called ABC Limited which has allotted 1 lakh equity shares of ₹100 each at a price of 300 per share to the Kotak Mahindra Bank. So here Kotak Mahindra Bank is a issue banker. So it has given it on the 10th Jan 2020. So here the issue bank, that is Kotak Mahindra Bank Limited, offers for the sale to the company, that is it offers for the sale to the public on 25th of January 2020. So it is issuing, so here Kotak Mahindra Bank is issuing the shares on behalf of ABC Limited by inviting the public to subscribe for the same shares. So here the documents which are issued by the Kotak Mahindra Bank is said to be the deemed as prospectus of ABC Limited. So here the bank is issuing on behalf of ABC Limited, so that is called as here deemed as prospectus of ABC Limited. Then coming to the next type of the prospectus, a red herring prospectus. Here it doesn't contain all the information about the prospector, that is company. So the prospector here, it is in a brief, that is it doesn't disclose a certain information. So according to the act, the firm should issue this prospectus to the registrar at least 3 days before or the prior to the opening of the offers and the subscription list. Then coming to the next prospectus, that is statement in lieu of the prospectus. So if the public company is collecting the capital internally by issuing the securities to the existing shareholders as a right or a private placement, then the company submit a statement to the registrar in the place of general prospectus. So here this prospectus is issued if the company is raising capital internally instead of issue, that is raising through the public. So in that case the statement in lieu of prospectus is issued. Then coming to the next type of a prospectus, that is shelf prospectus. So here shelf prospectus is stated in Companies Act 2013 under the section 31. So here it is issued when the company or any financial institution offer one or more securities. That is when the company is issuing one or more type of securities in the same year. So let us take an example for this. Now suppose there is a company named by XYZ Limited. It wants to issue 1 lakh equity shares of rupees 100 each on the 10th June of 2019. Okay, so here it has issued its share in 2019. Further, again it wants to issue 1 lakh preference share of rupees 100 each on 25th Jan 2020. So here it is issuing 2 times within 1 year. So here instead of issue of 2 separate prospectus, it can issue only one shelf prospectus for both the issues. So this one prospectus is valid up to the 1 year of the issue. Then coming to the next type of a prospectus, that is abridged prospectus. So it is like a memorandum which contain all the features which are specified by the SEBI. SEBI is Security Exchange Board of India, which will lay the guidelines regarding to the company working. So here according to the SEBI, it has given a guidelines wherein you have to disclose the certain information regarding the prospectus. So here it contains in brief which give the summary to the investor for making the further decision. A company cannot issue an application form for the purchase of security unless this prospectus accompanies such form. So here it contains the information about the company in brief. So coming to the next stage, that is third stage, capital subscription. So the first 2 stages were formation of the company, then next that is promotion, and then next was incorporation. So in the promotion stage we have seen that the business idea is conceived there and the promoter will make an arrangement of necessary document for the proceeding of the company. Then in the second stage, that is the incorporation, wherein we arrange the documents for getting the certificate of incorporation. Along with that, the necessary documents are prepared, that is memorandum of association and articles of association. Then the third stage here is capital subscription. So capital subscription here, this is a stage which is taken up with the intention of raising the capital. So in case of the private company need to complete only 2 stages. The first 2 stages, that is promotion and incorporation. After that it can start with its business, that is they can commence with their business. But in case of the public company, it has to go through the capital subscription stage for raising the necessary funds. So in case of the private company can borrow it from the bank or other financial institutions, or if from their friends or relatives. But in case of the public company, it has to go for the capital subscription, wherein the funds are raised from the public. So in case of the public limited, the share capital has to be raised from the public. So here the funds from the public are raised by the means of securities. Here security includes shares as well as debentures. So here shares uh, are taken by the issue of shares, that is shares are arranged by the issue of shares, and the debenture by the means of debts. For doing the same, it has to issue the prospectus. So we have seen already what are the contents of the prospectus. Here prospectus is an invitation which is given to the public to subscribe to the capital. That is, if the public want to purchase the share, by the purchase of the share, it means it is investing in the company. So it has to, so the company has to provide a prospectus. So there are procedure or the steps which are required for raising the funds from the public. So simply it is not that we issue the prospectus and the public will come and invest in the company. It has to go through the certain procedures. The first here is SEBI approval, that is Security Exchange Board of India. This is a regulatory authority. In our country, which will provide the guidelines or the rules and regulations according to which every company which is registered have to follow these. So the SEBI here has given the guidelines to disclose the certain information. So here certain information regarding the company has to be disclosed in order to protect the investors' interest. So that is in the interest of investors' protection. So here the company which is inviting the public to raise the funds, that is it is inviting the public for raising the funds, it has to make a disclosure of certain relevant information and shouldn't hide any information which will harm the investors. So therefore, to get a approval from the SEBI, it has to disclose all the information relating to the company. Then next is filing the prospectus. That is, it has to make a prospectus, or it has to file the prospectus. Already we have seen what all are the contents of the prospectus. So it should disclose all the information regarding the company's name, its registered office, then its voting power, then about the directors of the company, and etc. It has to disclose in the prospectus. Step here is appointment of bankers, brokers, and underwriters. So why these are necessary? So before commencing or starting the business, every company, public company, must have to show that adequate funds have been raised from public. That is, sufficient funds are being raised from the public. So when the company gives an offer to the public to subscribe its shares, here subscribe of shares means what? It has to put an application for the need of the shares. So it must ensure that minimum number of shares must be subscribed by the investors. So out of the total shares issued by the company, minimum 90% of its total shares have to be subscribed by the public. So if the application money received is less than the minimum subscription, that whatever the application money we have received in the first stage, if it is less than the minimum subscription, then the company must return all the application money to the investors, and it cannot start its operation, or it cannot start with its business. That is, minimum 90% it has to receive. If it has not received, then it has to return the application money to the investor. So to avoid such risk, to avoid such kind of the risk, it appoints the underwriters or the brokers who undertake to buy these shares if it is not subscribed by the publics. So these underwriters perform their job on the basis of commission basis. So these underwriters ensure that minimum subscription of the capital, minimum subscription of the capital is done, and this process is known as a underwriting. So here they will help to subscribe the minimum number of the shares to avoid the risk of returning back the application money. Then comes here is minimum subscription. So as we have seen that minimum, so out of the total share issued, minimum 90% shares must be subscribed. In case if they fail, they have to return the money back to application money back to the investors, and they cannot start their business immediately. Application to the stock exchange, that is, it has to list the, that is here listing of the share in recognized stock exchange, so that these shares can be traded, that is easily the investors can purchase and the company can sell its shares in the stock exchange. Then next here is allotment of shares. So till the time the shares are being allotted, the application money should remain in separate bank account and must not be used by the company. So here after the application money received, the next here is allotment. So here the allotment letter is to be issued to the successful allottees. So the return of allotment, which is signed by the directors or the secretary with the registrar of the company within the 30 days of the allotment. So here the private company may not invite the public to subscribe its security, that is shares and debentures. So here it can raise the funds through its friends or some relatives or some private arrangement or some other financial institutions. But in case of public company, it has to raise from the public. So these were the steps which are required for raising the funds from the public.